All right, well, everybody, if you're listening, we welcome you all to we're just calling it The Conversation, and we're just talking about real talk, raw talk, nothing but love. My personal friends, every person here I know personally, love personally, appreciate personally. Every one of you guys, I could say a number of good things, seriously. Because I just want to share some experiences and some observations of being in this life, being in this country, and being in this skin. Because that looks different for me than it does for you. But yet I've noticed crazy things. And if I've noticed crazy things, it makes me curious to know how much more, do you deal with than I? If I've just noticed crazy things just having black friends. And this is just being associated with black friends. I think my first question is, coming up as a young black man, David, this is to you. No. Coming up as a young black man, how did you view yourself? Kevin, why don't you start?
Me personally, I viewed myself as always different. I grew up in the suburbs, so I grew up around a lot of Caucasians, different cultures. I was more so the calm demeanor guy. Mm-hmm. And a lot of my friends were more so, they come from the city, come from the west side, south side, whatever. So they had different mentality than I did. But even with us being different, I felt like I was always looked at as being the same. Even though, when we go out, I'll be the one that's chill and, not getting into trouble, whatever. But if I get pulled up by the cops, I'm immediately thought of as, one of them. So, there's been plenty of times when, I first got a car and got pulled over, and they told me to get out the car and started searching the car. No, didn't ask a question, didn't say anything as far as, is there anything in the car? Nothing like that. Just automatically got right to searching. There's been times when I've been stopped for absolutely no reason at all. Asked, hey, so how much weed do you have in the car? What?
Straight to it, huh?
Straight to it. You know what I mean? So I always felt like, why am I looked at as the same when I know that I'm different?
Correct.
Yeah.
I know that I'm cut from a different cloth.
Right.
So that's kind of been my experience as, growing up. I moved around a lot. Moved from New York to Milwaukee to Chicago all before the age of 16.
Wow.
So, friends were kind of left behind. Mm-hmm. So I had to formulate my own, personality and formulate, who I was going to be and what direction I wanted to go in life. And so, yeah, just seeing going through those different experiences, put me in a place of being kind of jaded.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I know I'm not the same. I know that I'm different. I know that I'm cut from a different cloth and that I was raised differently, raised with respect. And, why can't I get the same? You know what I mean? Why can't I be treated as an individual as opposed to lumped into a group? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Lumped into a generalized idea, a misconception of, who we are.
Right.
So, I know that there's plenty of guys who have, been through the same thing or think the same way. And now we have this, this idea of how we're going to be treated before we're treated, any kind of way. Mm-hmm. So, yeah.
I have a Nigerian friend, and he told me, he says, Scott, when people would come to my country that are light colored, and excuse, if I don't say it right, black, African American, I hope there's love enough here to where I don't want to offend anybody, but for the description, But anyway, he said when they would come to our country, it's our culture. We roll out the red carpet for them. We take care of them. We show them love. When I came to this country, he was like, I went to Texas A&M, and people looked at me like I had to pass to be white friendly first, and I was like innocent until proven guilty. It was like the complete opposite. Guilty until proven innocent, which is completely backwards, I should say. But, and so, I'm hearing these things. But Rashad, how about you coming up?
why you had to stoke that fire right there, man. You could have did that after. So
these are observations. You know what I'm saying?
So I have to do it in two. So young man, I was happy-go-lucky kid. You know.
Where are you from? Are you from
Southside?
Southside.
Yeah. So playing, enjoying time with friends. I knew the danger areas to avoid.
Right.
It was pretty much known. Like, if you see a blue and white, you hide. You
Fall back.
try to blend in. You know,
Yeah.
so even if you're not doing anything,
Yep.
but even within the culture, and I'd be castrated for this. I was dark skinned when dark skin went in.
Yeah.
And so,
Yeah.
how I saw myself was not necessarily having value, but not being good enough, even amongst,
Wow.
each other. And so it was just one of those things where, the girls always liked the light-skinned dude, with the good hair, and you know what I'm saying? And so it was like, damn, like, I could get along with friends and all of that, but man, you trying to holler at old girl, that ain't going down. Like, no, not you, dude. And so
Wow.
I absorbed that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Then as I start to get older, that's when I call it savagery. That's when that starts to creep in. Because then now I'm not the little cute little 8-9-year-old boy bouncing around. So now you have, if police are going past, they're going past a little slower now. What are they doing?
Yeah.
What are they doing? And then the gangs are now like, who is this guy?
Yeah.
What's going on? And so it was, you had those two elements. Then I get into high school.
And you didn't even ask for that. You didn't ask for any of that.
No.
You're just growing up.
Now I'm doing what I do. I'm doing
Yeah.
my thing. And so I get to high school. I'll never forget it. Like, this is what stands out. I was working at a cleaners on the south side. It was a blackout. It was raining. It was blackout. We get out of work, and my guy would take me home. And so we're in the car. We got sounds in the trunk, obviously. And so we're going down Stony Island. We pull up to a liquor store. Can't tell you what I was doing there. We pull up to a liquor store.
Yeah.
And we didn't even get out of the car, and the police blocked us in. So I'm sitting here, I'm like, I'm terrified, because everything that I know is, man, they're going to beat us. They're going to throw some drugs in the car. Just everything. None of it was, they just checking to see if we okay. It was none of it. And so they get out. My buddy's like, oh, Rashad, I'm driving on the ticket. So I'm like, okay, dude, now you riding on a ticket. You got sounds in the trunk. There's beer bottles in the back seat. So I'm panicking because I just know, like, it's over.
Yeah.
So they get out. They pull me out the car. Ironically, they leave him in. I don't even know how that happened.
You're on the passenger side, or?
I'm on the passenger side. And so the cop, both white cops, and he says, hey, so I guess he saw I was nervous. So he said, hey, I'm the good cop. The cop right there, he's my white power friend that you're going to have to ask for freedom from.
Wow.
And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I'm in my head and I can't move. I'm just like, damn, like, wait a minute. I'm terrified because I have no idea. We're pulling up to a liquor. We just pulled in. We've got nothing. And so I'm sitting there like, man, so they take his ticket, they look at him, they check the car, and then they let us go. But that was just like crazy. And then I go maybe 6 years later, and this is beyond childhood, but it was a similar stop. We're on the north side, me and my other buddy. And we're coming from a networking event, man. Like, I'm suited and booted. He's got his suit on. He had just bought an old school Cutlass, so he's got tags on it.
Nice car.
We come out the networking event. It was just huff. It was bogus. So we leave, and we're driving down. I don't know if it was North Avenue or wherever we were, and we saw him go past. And I'm like, man, I hope. And this is just the regular thought process.
Yeah.
I hope they don't U-turn.
Right.
And so he U-turns. Next thing we know, we got flashes behind us. He pulls up. I'm terrified. his partner is standing there on, they get out. He's standing on the passenger side. His other guy, he's getting my buddy's license. And the guy that's standing there, like, I'm terrified because he's got his hand.
Oh my
gosh. Like, man, if I sneeze, boom, it's a wrap, know. And so he's like, yeah, there was a car like this that was stolen in the neighborhood, and you guys fit the description, and all this kind of stuff going on in my head. I'm like, man, on a suit, man. I just got off work about an hour ago. Like, what are you talking? But I gotta sit there.
Yeah.
And so it's the idea of I'm already struggling with identity because I'm different in my mix of people. And then if I leave the block and I go into some other area, it's like, I know I'm not wanted there. Like, as soon as I walk in, I'm the darkest thing in the room. And so it was just like this I don't know what you call it, but just like this tug and pull. Like, I knew avoid cops at all costs. The officer friendly that you met in second grade, he ain't there.
The dare guy, he's gone.
He ain't there. McGruff crime dog.
Yeah.
Now, that was secondary Rashad. Not anymore. He doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
So you had this just thing of trying not to look suspicious, and then trying not to look suspicious. You look guilty as all get out, And so it's. I mean, and that still carries to today.
Interesting.
That's so crazy that you say that. That's how I walk around. Is I'm trying not to look guilty, like, and I haven't done anything.
Yeah.
I'm trying not to look suspicious.
Now, I wouldn't say guilty, suspicious.
Suspicious.
Right.
Suspicious.
We know what that is.
Yes.
You're suspicious, you're automatically.
Right.
This is suspicious.
I walk into a store.
Right.
I know the camera's watching me.
Oh, absolutely.
I know the camera's watching me.
It's like this, and then you walk into the store.
Right.
Right.
And I get offended if the Kohl's guy, because I used to, the Kohl's guy is kind of even looking at me. I'm thinking, why are you looking at me? How dare you look at me? And you deal with this. You're telling me you deal with this just about every day.
This is life.
That's normal. That's
life.
Like, so, like, it's life where, like, you're walking into stores, walking in like, anywhere.
I went to
Except
buy my wife
church.
some roses.
At home.
Except
Even in church.
You said except church? Or
Yeah.
at church even?
I say except church, but
He said wrong, man. He said wrong.
Well, that's we got to keep it
Yeah,
raw, right?
I mean,
You know what I mean?
I went to give my wife some roses for Mother's Day.
Good
right?
man. Wise man.
So I go into the store and I'm looking around, and obviously it's the last day, right? It's like 6 o'clock in the morning on Mother's Day. So so I go in and I'm looking. It's obviously not much in there. I grab a dozen just so nobody else takes it, and then I go to the other side of the store to the more expensive stuff. And the girl is standing there, and she's like, "Do you need any help?" I'm like, "Nah, I'm good." So I'm still looking, but she's like positioned so she could see me.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm already conditioned to think she's watching me.
Yeah.
Man, she could not have been paying. I don't know what was going on in her mind, but in my head, I'm like, man, what's going on? I'm too old for this, man. I'm in here, I'm looking for some roses. Now I'm in here trying to think, okay, is she watching me?
Right.
Okay, let me calm down.
Yeah.
Let me get the innocent face on, and I'm not doing. And so it was just, and I was like, you know what? I'm up out of here, man. I'm gonna just get this dozen that I got, and I'm gone. I don't want to carry that stress.
Yes.
And granted, she may not have been paying me no attention, but because I'm conditioned to think that way, it was just like, I just got to roll.
Yeah.
This is not cool.
It's almost like become a part of our survival mechanism.
Yeah.
To somewhat prove that we're not suspicious.
Wow.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not that individual that's going to stick you up. I'm not the individual about to rob you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like you get trained to like try to. That's how we have to kind of survive. You know what I mean? It becomes a tool.
And people are listening to this. They don't necessarily know you, but I can vouch. I mean, you're some of the greatest guys in this room that I know. Some of the nicest. Roger, you're one of the nicest guys. I foul you real hard on the court, and I feel guilty, and you're like, Scott, you're good. And it's always love, And so this is what I'm talking about. And I think this is going to be a real shocker, a real eye opener for a lot of people, but I still think it's necessary.
Sure.
Yes. Just the fact that you guys are open to listening and hearing is something that I appreciate.
Yeah.
You know, the things that we go through, we've learned to keep inside.
So true.
We've learned to just walk around with it. But when we explode,
Lord have mercy.
everybody better watch out.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And it's not that we're like, it's not focused on you. You know what I mean? You didn't cause it, but this is just a heavy burden to walk around with on a daily basis. Like, you know, they say when you're born black, you're born with 2 strikes against you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And it's messed up, but that's just the way it is.
It's just the way it is.
You know what I mean? And I applaud anyone who's been out protesting, been out, you know, who's not black, who's out there with us, standing by us, saying that, you know, Black Lives Matter. Because that, to me, we can't do it on our own. Like, we cannot do this on our own. Because we can yell, we can scream, we can, you know, riot, we can, you know, do all of this stuff. But that's not going to bring any change if white people don't realize that there's a problem.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because you guys, I mean, not you, but white people inherently have, you know, they benefit from this thing called white privilege.
So true.
You know what I mean? And whether or not you know it, whether or not you accept it, whether or not you know it exists, it is there.
So true.
And it's been a system of, you know, a system of oppression, a system that has been put in place by the founding fathers and all this stuff that I'm not going to get into. But ultimately, it's there, it exists, and the fact that you guys are standing with us, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Real talk.
Okay.